Hi everyone, Victoria Jennings here from Taking Care of Business. I hope you can join me today. It'd be really great, or you'll be watching the replay. I'd love you just to say replay if you're watching the replay. It'd be great just so I know who's actually watching. What I've got for you today is something that eluded me for a really long time. I got stuck on six figures for years and years and years. In my first business, okay? And I just didn't know. Whatever I did didn't work. And I could not break that barrier. It was like a glass ceiling for me. And I don't know if any of you are feeling the same way, but it was very frustrating, I remember. And my business is actually, my other business, my college is actually experiencing this again now, going to 8 figures. There seems to be this glass ceiling again. Going to 8 figures. So it's really interesting that there are these, not blocks, but there's a secret sauce to going from that next, from a 5-figure to a 6-figure to a 7-figure to an 8-figure business. It seems to be a little plateau. It's kind of like when we're on a diet, which I've done very often my whole life. So you're on a diet and you hit that plateau. And no matter what you do, you can't keep losing weight. Right? You just stay there. And it's so frustrating. And the same thing happens in our businesses. Okay? It's just a thing. It's something that occurs. And then until you crack it, or until, in the case of your fitness, you do something, and then all of a sudden, or you do nothing, you keep doing the same, but then all of a sudden your body kicks in again. And you start losing weight again. And it's the same with your business. Something kicks in, but it's usually something you hadn't done in your business. Something kicks in, it finally works, and then you're off and you've broken that barrier. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, because a lot of it is to do with mindset. So today we're looking at the millionaire mindset shift that you need to have so that you can think like a 7-figure entrepreneur, because often when we're on 6 figures, we're not thinking like we should be thinking to get to 7. So let's fix our mind first. Let's fix our mindset first before we can then shift into gear, into action, because we actually need a different perspective of business at each different level. And you can't have that different perspective if your mindset's not in alignment with that perspective. I hope that makes sense. All right, so most entrepreneurs work harder than most millionaires, right? But the mindset keeps them stuck. It really is. And it keeps them stuck at that 5 figures or below. As I said, there's plateaus at each level, right? So have you ever felt like you're capable of so much more, and you're capable of doing so much more, and you're capable of helping so many more people in whatever your business is all about, but no matter how hard you try, you stay stuck? Some of you may be experiencing that right now. You could be on a plateau in your business right now. So today I'm going to unpack 3 mindset shifts that separate the 7-figure entrepreneurs from everyone else, and how you can start thinking like one now. All right? Because we've got to move the mind, then the actions follow, and then the results follow. Mind, action, results. Mind, action, results. Whatever we're doing, okay? So it's not about having more money. It's about thinking differently about time and energy and decisions and growth. That's what needs to change, because most 6-figure businesses can still be a sole entrepreneur business, which is something that I call a micro business. And yes, you're earning decent money, but it's still really a wage. It's a good wage. You might be on the same as a prime minister or a president, but it's still a wage, because you still have to turn up every day in order to make the money come in. And while the money is attached to you showing up, you can't get to 7 figures. You just can't, because you can't handle everything. Okay? And when you're on your own, you're handling most things. You might have a VA or 2, but the majority of the work of the business is being done by you. So the sole entrepreneur, if that's where you're at, and I know there's a lot of people in here who are, that's a practitioner level. Michael Gerber talks about it. I'm going to go through that in a minute. So that's the busyness of the business. You're still doing things in the business, and that's still vital to the business. So sole entrepreneurs can never sell their business. It never becomes an asset because it needs you in it. So I like to teach people that I work with not to do that, to actually grow their business. It's going to start that way, but to have a plan in place so that it won't always be that way. And you'll move out of that and your business will be able to operate without you in it eventually. Okay, and then you've got an asset that you can sell. And that's what I'm all about. Entrepreneurs having an asset they can sell, because I see most of them can't. And when they stop working, and they are working, they're just working for themselves. When they stop working, then the income's going to stop too. And that would be such a shame, because there's a way we can build legacy. There's a way we can have retirement, still having income coming in. All right, and don't have to rely on the government for anything. And that's where we all need to be right now, I believe. We don't want to be reliant on anyone or anything, okay? So we want to move from practitioner to entrepreneur with a team mentality. Entrepreneurs are about teams. Entrepreneurship is about multiple businesses, multiple incomes, multiple streams, and multiple teams. That's an entrepreneur. All right? Otherwise, you're still a worker. So, and a lot of people think, oh, I can do it all, it's cheaper. It's cheaper if I do it. It's better if I do it. They don't trust other people to do things on their behalf, and they don't see how much money it's costing them in their business to be doing it all themselves. It's costing a lot of money. It's costing time, which is money, because it's tying up your time that could be used on things that will move the needle in your business. But instead, you're revamping the website, or, you know, you're looking at social media and, you know, really involved in doing the messaging yourself to people and, you know, and all of that. And I'm not saying we don't all start there. If you're bootstrapping, we do. Okay? But if you're at 6 figures and still doing that, then that's an issue. That's a real issue. And it's going to become a bigger issue. All right, so I'm going to talk about Michael E. Gerber, because he wrote a book called The E-Myth Revisited, and then he wrote a book called The E-Myth Mastery. I really recommend that everyone read it. It's great because it's all about small business and this trap that we often get caught into, and that's being the practitioner rather than the entrepreneur. So there are various things that, and the practitioner is like the technician. Okay, so it's like, well, when I started my college, my adult education college, I did all the training. I ran all the programs. I was the teacher of everything. I was also the seller of the programs. I was also the administrator of making sure all the stuff behind the scenes was being done and the nurturing of the clients was being done. I did everything. So I was the practitioner. I was in it. And I had to do that to start. And I loved it because I loved teaching. So I loved it, but I hated admin. Okay. So that's what I mean by the technician. This is the plumber who goes out on his own or her own. This is the hairdresser, okay, who's working for somebody but getting bigger results. You know, they like lease out a chair, you know what I mean? So they're kind of in business for themselves, but they're still attached to something else that's holding them back. Or the hairdresser that works from home, another example. Or any beauty specialists that work from home, another example. So you can't grow. It's always going to rely on you. And if you get sick and the money stops. If you get sick, the money stops, you've got a problem. All right? So you want to become an entrepreneur who's able to work on the business. And I know we hear people talk about on the business and in the business, but it's so true. It is so true. You want to be working on the business. You want to be moving the needle. You want to be focused on strategy or focused on automation or focused on sales and revenue, right? But you, as an owner, but you do not want to be focused on the everyday, day-to-day grind that other people could do for you, easily do for you on your behalf. All right. So he outlines 3 key roles that every business owner has to balance. And that's the technician, as I've said, which is the implementer, the one who knows the craft, the baker, the coach, the plumber, the butcher, the, whatever that might be. And then the manager, that's the planner and organizer who brings order and systems to the business. And you have to move into those roles too as the business grows. Right, I spoke about that in another video, I think last week, or it might have been Roadmap to Millions Boot Camp. I can't remember which one, but I know I spoke about it this week. Okay, so check out some of those other videos. It will talk more about that. And then we have the entrepreneur, who's the visionary, the one that focuses on the vision, focuses on the growth, focuses on the strategies. And that's what we mean by working on. You're working on strategies, building strategies, but someone else is implementing them on your behalf. You're keeping an eye on it. You're watching it. You're keeping them accountable for it. Okay, and there's a way to do all of that. So that's what Michael Gerber talks about, and I think it's really valuable, and it helps businesses see themselves in that role and see where they should be moving and shifting towards. Roadmap to Millions Boot Camp will do that as well, of course. But I wanted to share Michael Gerber because you can get that book, or you can listen to it on YouTube, or, however you like, whether you're auditory, whether you're visual. Will depend whether you'd like the book or whether you'd like to listen. Or if you're visual, then you'd like to see something. You might find Michael Gerber actually talking about it, okay? And so I'd encourage you to do that. So you need to shift from just doing the work to designing and scaling, so that it doesn't need you in it, can operate without you in it, and then you're building an asset that you can sell. And you might never sell it, but you can sit at home like I do and do whatever I want, turn up for 1 meeting a week, or turn up as emergency arise and need my input, okay? But predominantly it's not a huge commitment, and you're free to do whatever else you want to do. And in my case, I want to start another business because I love businesses. I just love them. It's not work for me. I enjoy it. I enjoy creating, okay, things. Okay, so the 3 big shifts to 7-figure thinking is to let go of that technician, to start being the architect of the business. And for some of you, that means doing a business plan that you've never done. You need to know where you are and where you want to go, or you'll never get there. That's a business plan. Where you are, where you want to go, and how you're going to get there. That's the business plan, all right? 7-figure entrepreneurs design their business so the business doesn't need them, stepping out of it with strategies and broad communication channels. They delegate execution and put value-based systems in place and automate as much as they possibly can, okay? Freeing up their most valuable asset, which is their time. Time is money. Allows them to move out of the business altogether, creating a really valuable asset. And you can do this gradually. So you can start having a 2-week holiday where you don't check your emails. And then you can stretch it, right? Have a 6-week holiday. Eventually, you can take 3 months out. When you can take 3 months out, you know you've got a business that doesn't need you in it. That is the point where you know you've now got an asset. Okay. So at the moment in your business, where are those bottlenecks? Where are you showing up as I call it octopus syndrome? So you've got all these things juggling in the air with your tentacles, right? You're trying to do everything and you're dropping some of the things. Some things are dropping. That might be, depending on what profile and what perspective of business you're coming from, you know, that might be your strategies are not there. It might be your message to market isn't right. Your offer isn't right. It might be that you don't have anyone to do the daily grind implementational stuff for you. Or it might be that you don't have the systems to support what you're doing and there's nothing automated. Okay, but somewhere in your business, out of one of those sort of 4 areas, there will be a bottleneck. So just type in the comments below, what is that bottleneck? What's it look like for you? Okay. So we've got to shift, the next shift is we've got to shift from being transactional, to being transformational, having transformational thinking. So when we're a sole entrepreneur, it's all about the revenue. We just want to make sure the money keeps coming in the door, coming in the door, coming in the door, coming in the door. We're not so much worried about, you know, the lifetime value of a customer, for example. We're just wanting that next sale, that next sale, that next sale. So stop chasing one-off sales and start building long-term value and a waterfall. I call it a value waterfall. So you've got products and services that they can keep coming back for. You know, the next level and the next level and the next step and the next step, right? Or they can purchase the whole thing and it costs a lot more money, but they're going to get everything that you do. And they're your VIP clients, right? So start thinking about, what does that look like for you? How are you going to stack those offers if you're in a service industry? Or how are you going to stack those products if you're in a product industry? Okay? Think in terms of lifetime value, as I said, recurring revenue, and the client ascension model. What does that look like? As I guarantee, if you're a sole entrepreneur, you don't have one. You've probably got one product. Okay? Are you building a business that creates repeat income, or are you in a one and done sales? One and done will keep you broke. We want to have things on automation. We want to be selling things automatically while we sleep. And again, these are things you have to have systems in place to be able to do that. And, you know, that's around the, you know, number 5, number 6 stage of business. So it's not number 1 stage, okay? But you're working your way through there as well, through the stages of business. So, yeah, are you one and done, or do you have a product or service suite? And therefore you have customers that can keep, and clients, they can keep coming back and doing the next thing with you and the next thing with you. And if they have a great experience with you, you want to make sure they've got a next thing to do with you. Because that would be a tragedy if there's not, right? So, and the next shift, the number 3 shift, is to really go from short-term hustle to long-term assets. Okay? 7-figure in entrepreneurs invest in assets. So, and they don't just do it in their own name either, they do it in their business name. So it might be shares, it might be stocks, it might be Bitcoin, it might be gold, it might be silver, it might be property, but they invest in assets. So you've got to be able to go to a bank, right? And you've got to have the deposit, which you get from your sales, but then you've got to be able to go to the bank, get a loan, and be able to service that loan in order to invest, okay? So a 7-figure entrepreneur has got a totally different view of the world than a 6-figure. Because at 6 figures, you can't do that. You can't support the loan. I know, been there, tried it. Didn't work. Okay. So the other thing at this a 7-figure level is you know what to say no to in your business, because our business grows not from what we say yes to. Our business grows from what we say no to. So this is making sure that you are protecting your time is the most valuable thing that you can do. And that's the most valuable thing that I did that actually got me through to the 7 figures, was protecting my time and getting other people to do things on my behalf, letting go. Letting go is a big thing. Trusting others, that's a big thing too. And you know, saying no to some clients because it's not really in the why of your business. It's not the purpose of your business. And having the courage to say no, that's not what we do. But I know someone who could help you with it and take a referral for the passing on of that client, right? Always monetize everything as humanly possible. But you don't try and do it yourself. In the early days, we'll grab anything and become anything just to get the sale, to have anyone, you know, that's purchased something from us. I know that feeling. I was there. I know what that feels like. I went through that. It's real, but we want to get away from that. We want to put a plan in place to get away from that. We don't want to stay there. We don't want to get stuck there. Okay, and understand the wealth equation. So this is really important. Value times leverage equals wealth. This was a game changer for me, understanding this. Value is created through your product or service, and leverage is created through your people and systems. And that's it. But you need all 4. And you need all 4 to get to a 7-figure business. You'll need all 4 working well to get to a 7-figure business. We go through that in detail, a lot of detail in the Roadmap to Millions Bootcamp, okay? So what are you building in your business that will still generate value a year from now? Okay? What are you building? What could you monetize as another option that you could sell, another offer in your value waterfall? I'll teach about the value waterfall too in the Roadmap to Millions Bootcamp, because that's what the bootcamp's all about, getting into 7 figures and beyond. Okay. So yeah, what are you going to work on? And if you don't have anything, what could you work on? So which of these shifts that I've just gone through, whether it be you're going from the technician to the entrepreneur or the designer of the business, okay, from working into working on the business, does that relate to you? Is that what you've got to work on to get to 7 figures? Or is it from transactional, thinking about one sale, to transformational, thinking about that many different products and services that you can stack so that you can get a lifetime value from your client? And that might only be 3 products or services. It doesn't have to be 25. That's also not good. You don't want to have too many, but you want to have more than one, all right? Or is it the last one we spoke about, which is going from short-term hustle, you know, again, getting that transaction in the door, to going to long-term assets and really building not only your wealth, but your family's wealth as well. Which one of those do you need to work on, do you think, right now? All right. And if you're not sure of what to do when, what to do to get from one level that you're on now to the next level, then I encourage you to come and check out Roadmap to Millions Bootcamp with me. We're getting amazing results in there now, and everyone is moving forward and got momentum, has direction. A lot of them didn't have that. Some of them were stuck, and now they're unstuck. So I'd really encourage you to at least check it out. If you want to check it out, then just type bootcamp below, and I'll make sure that we get a link to you to be able to book a call with me and talk about the bootcamp, your business, predominantly your business, and how the bootcamp may assist you from where you're at now. And if it won't, I don't want you to come in, all right? There might be something, I've got people everywhere like this. There might be something you need to do first before you can come in. And I'll tell you that. I'll tell you you're not ready, all right? Or we might be a really good thing for you to do, a really great investment, because I know you'll get return on that investment. You will get return in revenue and profit, I guarantee. I can't guarantee how much because I don't know your circumstances, all right? I'll never guarantee a certain amount ever because it depends on too many things, what your business is, what industry you're in, what stage of business you're in, how old your business is, do you have a team, don't you have a team? Like there's so many variables, I can't do that. And I won't do that out of integrity. But I do know you will have a shift, you will increase revenue, and you will increase your profits because of what we put in place, provided you do the work. That's why it's a boot camp. You've got to do the work. But I'll give you the roadmap. That roadmap will take you out of the scenic route that can take years and years and years. It'll get you off the roundabouts you may be stuck on now. Okay, you'll get off them finally, and you will be able to go onto the highway and speed up how long it takes to get your business to the next level. That's what I do. And I do it well. All right? And I've been doing it for a long time. I've been helping other businesses for a long time at all different stages, from people with 60,000 staff. That's right, 60,000 staff in America. I've worked with that company and made a huge difference. I've worked with startups in the States and worked with their executive teams, made a huge difference by implementing this roadmap. It works with sole entrepreneurs. It works with companies with 100 staff. It works with companies with 60,000 staff. I've never seen it fail. I've never seen us not get an improvement of some kind. Okay? And even the gurus, when I listen to the gurus, they're all focused on one part of a business, one part only, and there's 3 other parts that are not getting any attention. And so only the people who are the same as that guru are going to get results. So 25% will get results, 75% won't. And I know why. Okay, so let's get you out of the octopus syndrome. Let's move you into, from the manager to the true entrepreneur, not the wannabe entrepreneur. There's lots of wannabe entrepreneurs around today. We want to move you out of that. Okay? Yeah, and if you haven't sold anything, you're a wannabe entrepreneur. And I know there's a lot of people in here that are like that too, because you're still working on the idea of your business. And I can help you there too, but you've got to come and work with me. You have to. Okay? Because I would share it with you here if I could, but there is so much information. You need to be in the program where all the videos are that you can go over again, because as you move through the different stages of business, you'll need to revisit different videos again. And this channel here can't do that. I can't do that for you. All I can do is give you a snippet, a view of what we cover inside. All right? And also grab it while it's really reasonably priced, because I've reasonably priced it because I've moved from this being a 5-day retreat to an online with group coaching and individual coaching. It's 3 individuals coaching sessions with me. It's a 12-week program. I've moved from that model to this model, and that's why it's really discounted at the moment, but it won't be forever, because I believe in the law of fair exchange. And if someone's going to work with me and increase their revenue by a couple of $100,000 that year, then I deserve, a little piece of that pie too, okay? And who knows, maybe one day I'll make it profit share for that year. I don't know. But at the moment, it's the best time to get in, all right? That's all I can say. And I don't know when I'm going to change those investment levels, but I will be changing them. I can guarantee it, because things are going really well. People are getting great results. Testimonials are already coming in, and we haven't even finished the first program yet. We haven't done 12 weeks yet. And it's rolling starts. You can come in at any time and you just go back over where you're at in the program. Okay? And then I do lives every week and you come to those lives as well. It's really good. Anyway, type bootcamp below if you would like more information. I'd love to see you on the inside. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week again for Taking Care of Business. Bye.